I've been to Puffy's house. No, I didn't see none of the stuff they said. 1,000 bottles of baby oil, that's a lie. Remember, he wasn't on trial for having 1,000 bottles of baby oil because it's not a crime to have 1,000 bottles of baby oil. It's gross. It's not illegal. Somehow this country went wrong. I've narrowed it down to a specific dude. It has something to do with Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion of the world. And the heavyweight championship, to this day, is the most prestigious title in sports. But in 1908, only white fighters had that distinction. But because no white fighter would give any black person the opportunity to lay their hands on them. And a guy named Tommy Burns became heavyweight champion. And Tommy Burns was an anomaly. He was Canadian. And he said, I am the heavyweight champion of the world. He's Canadian. You know how they are. He was like, the opportunity to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. Now, you think that Americans would root for Jack Johnson because he was an American. No, this was blacker than Wesley Snipes. And Jack Johnson stepped in the ring and towered above him. You know, he beat Tommy Burns. After months of persistence, Jim Jeffries relented. This is where the phrase, the great white hope, came from. They were dying to find any white man that could put this in its place. I'll tell you what, on the 4th of July, Jim Jeffries was not the guy. Jack Johnson his ass up, put him away with a vicious right hook, and you see Jim Jeffries and the footage start to fall, but then the film cuts off because they didn't want any imagery of this knocking out their hope. All over the United States, there were riots, white riots, where they killed many black people to make sure that the rest of these knew their place. Because Jack Johnson was the first black person to physically confront the color line and win. And here's the punchline. He didn't just leave the arena with his life. He left the arena with his life and a white man beating up white guys. And one after another, they lined up with the great white hopes. Jack Johnson would vanquish them all. In fact, it took an act of Congress to stop him. Congressman named Mann from Illinois came up with an act called the Mann Act. The Mann Act is the law that says it is illegal to take a woman across state lines for the purposes of debauchery. Jack Johnson got tried, prosecuted, convicted of the Mann Act, fled the country, was on the run for years, and it ruined his life. Before he died, this is one of my favorite quotes that any American ever said. He said, I risk everything for my pleasure. You know, having freedom is one thing. Not having freedom is another thing. But using freedom that you don't have takes an enormous amount of courage, no matter how selfish you are with it. Jack Johnson is an American riddle. Charlie Kirk was alive and well. A Stevie Wonder show, and Stevie Wonder didn't know I was there. I was on the side stage. And this was a very special night. It was the night before Aretha Franklin's funeral. And Steve was on stage killing it, and then in the middle of his set, he started to sing a medley of all the songs that he had ever written. Clubs. But tell me about the town. I said, well, what do you want to know? And then he looked at me like you know, Mick Jagger look. He said, are there girls there? I lied right in his face. I was like, yeah. Trump and Elon made this Doge thing and cut all those government jobs. The housing market in my hometown plunged 20% in the first quarter. And I don't mean to talk like a white. But boy, they did that, didn't they? And then when it's deployed the National Guard, my hometown, took the police department from the mayor. Oh, D.C., we don't like that. Then my governor in Ohio sent our National Guard to police my hometown. And I called these and said, I'm pulling up. These is trying to take the chocolate out of Chocolate City. I'm getting a lot of grief, again, because I did a comedy festival in Saudi Arabia. Hear those cheers? That's black people. America's whites, they're furious. Boy, I gotta tell you something. I've never not felt guilty about something like I've done since 1910. The hallmark of Jack Johnson's character was audacity. There's a story about him that's a legend that says that one night he was caught speeding down a country road and the police pulled Jack Johnson's black ass over. You know, this was 1910. He must have been flying 13, 14 miles an hour.